Okay, because I need to figure out what the hell going on here with this person. So I'm going to give my opinions about what I noticed about this man, Stephan Sterns, who's currently um, under investigation for murder of a child. And this situation with Stephan Sterns actually started out through a missing persons investigation. So what started out as a missing persons investigation ended up being a murder investigation. Oh my gosh. All right, let's get into this. So this person is going back to, they're going over with the interviewer about Miss Madeline. This is her, Soto. Okay, and this is her mom. And I really am like confused. I'm like, what the fuck? What the hell was going on with the mom? What was going on with the mom? That's all I can say right now, because until I hear something from this mom, I feel like the mom should be in just as much trouble as the dad. Or excuse me, the boyfriend. Because this man is who the police is interviewing. He is the boyfriend of the mother, not the father. He's not the father of Madeline. He's the boyfriend of the mother. So, let's get into this video. Okay, so this happened in Florida, but I'm just now finding out about this particular case, but of course it intrigued me because it's dealing with a child. Um, so I'm going to give my opinions on it. So, first off, what I noticed is that this person does not want to be seen. You can tell that by the way he's coming out the building and trying to hide his face from the camera. So apparently he's feeling something uncomfortable about being on the camera, which is another reason why you see that the interview that he did give to investigators, it's only audio. So you can't see him or see his mannerisms, but that is a red flag for me. I want to know why you don't want to be seen on camera if you didn't do anything. That's already a red flag. I believe that he's feeling shame. That is the reason why he's, attempting to keep his face away from the camera. That's also a reason why he is not on camera when you hear him say the things he's saying to the investigator. Now hold the hell on. He said he was getting ready to take this little girl to McDonald's. But on the way to McDonald's, she decides she don't want McDonald's. I don't know no child that don't want McDonald's. What child don't want McDonald's? I'm confused. But you know, hey, to each his own. But it's interesting how you got up early to go to McDonald's, but then on the way to McDonald's, she doesn't want to go to McDonald's. That's interesting. Interesting. So according to him, Madeline wanted to be dropped off away from the school. And he says it's because she got into a phase that she's been into lately, where she is very particular about what kind of, I think it's what kind of car. Yeah, so she wanted him to drop her off a ways from the school because she was in a phase where she was particular about what kind of car she was seen getting out of. You know what this sounds like to me? That he's given a plausible explanation, something logical that people would understand about teenagers. Because this little girl had just became a teenager around this time. So now we got a timeline from the time he left the house, which was, he said around 7:15ish. They left the house. And then he's saying that he didn't drop Miss Madeline off until 8 something that morning, like 8:20. So he's saying, he's describing where he dropped Miss Madeline off. But again, the detective asked him to be specific. If you notice in his response, he's not being specific. He's giving you landmarks. He's not being specific. He's giving you landmarks. Now, I wonder why he's not being specific. I don't mean no harm, but listening to him give his response to his dealings with Miss Madeline that morning, listening to him give his response, it sounds like he's explaining his account of the day. That's what it sounds like. He's doing too much explanation. He's doing too much explanation about things that really don't. So what he's doing is he's providing you with the context for the explanations that he's giving about his account. That's what he's doing. Why do you need to go into explanation of the context for the answers that you're providing? I feel like you're thinking too much about unnecessary things when you do this. Because we don't need to know certain things. It just doesn't. Why do we need to know this? You're going into, and it's interesting because he's going into detail about the context behind his account, but he's not going into context about the things that matter. The things that we actually care about. He's doing too much explaining about his account, i.e., the answers he's giving, the responses he's giving. He feels the need to put them into context as he's explaining them. Why? Because I think what he's trying to do is seem credible. So he's making reference to him looking in his rear view mirror at her as he's driving away, and he can see that she's rummaging through her backpack. So what she could have did in the car, she got out. She didn't do until she got out the car. He's making reference to this backpack because he noticed her rummaging through it. There's a significance to this backpack. I'm telling you, there's a significance to this backpack. I don't understand why he feels the need to throw that out there. Because he says, after she's rummaging through her backpack, that he believes she's probably looking for some headphones or something like that, but finds out later that she forgot her phone here. I'm assuming here is either in the car or at home. She forgot her phone. I mean, let me tell you something about a teenager. Their phones stay glued to their hand. If their phones are not in their hands when they leave that house, you best believe they're not leaving that house. Wherever the last place they remember having that phone, oh, they trust me, they're not leaving without it. So I don't believe that about she forgot her phone. You mean to tell me on the drive to McDonald's, she didn't have a phone in her hand? She didn't even notice her phone was missing? This is not teenage behavior. Not the teenagers I know. That phone is glued to their hand. So if they don't have their phone, something done went down, something crazy, something fishy. After you dropped her off, what did you do? I stayed and talked to her for a little while. I made sure, it is all right that you're going early, because it was still early. Red flag. When somebody is speaking and they're saying a lot, to me that conveys some sort of anxiety, where it seems like you're not sure or you're uncertain. It could also mean you have in the moment, maybe you're at a loss for words, or you're not sure exactly what to say. This is what means to me. So gives me pause whenever you're talking about something that you were there during the time, and the account that you're giving should be based off of what you observed or what you did or what you said during this time, because you were there. And you're using words like every few phrases you're saying or you're stuck. That already gives me pause. Now remember, in the beginning, the officer asked him to be specific as he can be. If you notice, as he's going through his story, he's not being specific about very much. He still is not giving timelines, like time references. He's not talking about time period at all. And he's still not being very specific with what was said on his behalf and on her behalf. I feel like he's still being vague. Why are you not being specific? The officer asks you to be as specific as you can. But he's making sure not to give any times. I noticed that. Okay, so if he dropped if he dropped her off around 8 something, that's what he said. He left there and went to the vape shop. Vape shop wasn't open, so he went home. He said he waited an hour or so and then went back to the vape shop. So that's why. Okay, so that's where the 10 comes in, where he left to go back to the vape shop. And he's saying he got back home after 11. Oh, so now we get a highway. See, before, when he was talking about where he dropped her off, he didn't mention a highway. He didn't mention a highway. He didn't mention a road. All he gave was the landmark, which he said was some overpass. Okay? So he's giving them a roundabout area. This is the first time he's mentioning a highway. And I got a feeling that this highway is important. Hold on. He didn't finish his sentence. Oh, that's another red flag. Pause. She wanted to make sure, because I got to go back, y'all. I'm sorry. Let me go back. She was talking about, hold on. No. He had a couple errands to run over on 192. She was talking about making a BJ shopping list. Who is she? Once again, you're not clear. Who is she? She wanted to make a BJ shopping list. Who is she? She just wanted to make sure I was back in time for us both to go pick up. Pick up what? He's saying again. Okay, did anybody not notice that he was doing a run-on sentence there, and he's using pronouns instead of using someone's name? So we don't know if she is the mother or she is the child. Unless they took pieces out of this interview, I didn't hear who he was referring to, so he's not being clear. He was visiting some card shops in the area around 192. He knows he has to reference 192. There's a reason he has to reference 192, because in his mind, there could be surveillance showing him being on that highway. There could have been a witness that saw his car on that highway. So he knows that he has to, in order to validate his credibility, so to speak, he has to make sure that he covers the basis for what can be proven. Okay, and there's plenty of cameras on stretchways, on highways, on roads and stuff like that. So he's covering this 192 for a reason. I'm kind of a nerd, so we had a new trading card game release, and I was seeing what the situation was. Why are we talking about that? I guess, like I said, he has to go into the context behind his responses. So he got a flat tire also on 192. Interesting. Okay, so now he's going into this long drawn out story behind the flat tire. You know, he wasn't lucky, and you know, he jammed his finger and all this stuff. So you're willing to talk to us about this stuff that don't really matter. But I noticed that you're not saying anything about Madeline, and which at this point, this is a missing persons investigation. You said you loved her when she got the car, and she said she loved you too. But you have not yet mentioned or asked or said anything yet about what the police know. Has anybody ever come forward? You're not asking any questions that would make someone feel like you're trying to support this situation or that you really care about her, because you haven't mentioned her name at all. You haven't even called her by her name at this point. The police officer did, but he hasn't even called her by her name yet. That's interesting. But you could talk about all this other miscellaneous stuff that's not really important. I mean, correction, it could be important, but for reasons unknown yet. But it's a reason why he's bringing this stuff up about 192. He's still not being clear. One of those areas around Oak. But you can tell us about your tire and how you messed up your thumb and all this other stuff. You even knew. Let me not start. So the police officer is asking if Madeline has been known to go away for long periods of time or whatever, and this guy, Mr. Sterns, is saying she's very dependent on us. I don't think she'd know what to do if she did run away. She says she's a good kid. So he mentioned she has ADHD, and Mr. Sterns is saying that a while back she was seen for autism. Interesting. said that? Who said that? What the fuck? Okay, y'all. Listen to this, okay? Give me 1 minute.